Today's date is July 15th, and behind me you can hear the drone of my air conditioner unit, which is going to just be a reality for the foreseeable future, because what it does to the quality of my videos is more than compensated for by what it does for the quality of my life. So I apologize for that background noise, but I'm not deeply sorry. What we're going to be doing today is planting some carrots for fall harvest. I've cleared a section of my garden. You can't see it from here because it's back behind my tomatoes. I had peas and beets growing there, and those have all been cut down and harvested, either because they're spent or because I'm tired of dealing with leaf miner maggots. And so that's why the beets came out, was because leaf miners are terrible, awful things, and I'm not going to grow beets again until I come up with a good plan to deal with them. And peas came out because it was just time, and maybe past time. So those both came out yesterday, leaving a large open space in my garden that's ready for more seeds. Carrots are going in there, and also eventually lettuce. Now the carrots I will be sowing directly because they are a root crop, and that's how they go. The lettuce is going to be problematic for me because I've got extra people living in my house right now, taking up my spare rooms that I would normally germinate lettuce in, because I can close the door and the cats can't get to it. So I'm going to have to come up with some sort of plan to germinate lettuce indoors because it is too hot outside for those seeds to germinate. Carrots are just going to have to work. So here's my one of my seed organizer boxes. Eventually, if you get sufficiently into gardening, you're going to want to organize your seeds. I'm not going to be growing cosmic purple carrots. So that's something I tried from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, and I just wasn't happy with their flavor or their texture. But the Burlicum 2 carrot is yummy and orange. I was also happy with the Amarillo carrots. So those are going in. I am for sure planting more Black Nebula carrots. These are actually the best tasting carrots I grew this spring, and fall grown carrots only taste better. So I'm super excited to see how these taste after growing up for the fall. And then I have Kyoto Red carrots. You can see this isn't opened. Now all of these are from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. They do not sponsor me. Hey Baker Creek, you can sponsor me if you want to. I go through them just because they tend to have more oddball plants that you don't find in grocery stores. And that's kind of the whole point of growing your own garden. So these are Kyoto Red, and they are specifically for growing in the fall. So it says slender roots grow to 12 to 18 inches, must be planted in late summer, fall, winter, not for spring planting. And that's why these haven't been opened yet. So I'm going to put the cosmic purple back away. I would toss these, except for the fact that I'm a seed hoarder. And we're going to go over to the bed and plant some carrots. Alright, I've gone ahead and smoothed things out in my bed a little bit in preparation for sowing, so that you don't have to sit through that. I've got my seeds ready, and so I'm going to be using a pen that says it's a permanent garden marker. It's supposed to be UV resistant. If you don't have something specifically for labeling in your garden, then strongly recommend that you use a pencil, because Sharpie will disappear on you. I've put in some trenches, about a quarter, they'll be about a 1/4 inch deep. That's how deep you want to plant your carrots. And just lay them along the line. I'm going to plant more of these purple ones and red ones than anything else because they're what I'm excited about. You're not going to get them spaced perfectly, but so normally I would plant these too close together just based on my really negative experience I had last fall planting carrots. But this time I'm going to space them as if everything's going to be okay. And then I'm going to go in and try a trick that I saw in a YouTube video, a few YouTube videos. Everybody's doing it. It's a popular thing. Get on board or be left behind. I'm going to put a wooden plank on top of my row of carrots after I plant them and water them in. And what that's supposed to do is shelter them from the heat and the sun and keep them from drying out a little bit. So hopefully that's going to work. Cover them very gently. Now, you don't absolutely have to label what you're putting in the ground, but if you do, you are more likely to be happy because you will forget. Here we've got Black Nebula. I'm trying out new garden labels and new labeling pens. It's all new and exciting. So that's a whole row here of Black Nebula because they're my favorite. We do a whole row Kyoto Red. And I've got space between these. I could do more carrots, but I also want to grow lettuce in this bed. And you can also see I've got, it's not completely empty. I've got some vines coming up in the back. That is my gourd that I'm growing vertically, my Lutha gourd. So that would be taking up my entire bed if I were not growing it vertically. And that is my argument for vertical growing. It's just nice to have more space. Ooh, these seeds are much smaller. Black Nebula seeds are giant compared to other carrot seeds. So I'm probably going to have to thin these. I was like, wow, this is so much easier than I remember planting carrots being earlier in terms of spacing. Now I know why. Black Nebula carrot seeds have a gland issue. Yeah, that'll need thinning. There's my Kyoto Reds. Do a whole row of those. I'm going to put my wood on top right now so I don't forget where I need to water in. You can use any old piece of scrap lumber. The fact that mine are lousy with spider eggs is just a bonus. Hopefully what those will do is shelter my seedlings. And I'll do half a row each here of Amarillo and Berlicum 2. Now don't get me wrong, these are good carrots, they're just not sufficiently unusual for me to get all as excited about them. Carrots are super cheap at the grocery store, so I find that I'm happiest when I grow varieties that I can't get there and that are quite different from what I can get there. And they're in. So these are going to be watered in and then they should be expected to grow. We'll get back and see how well these pieces of scrap lumber actually allowed me to get germination in the heat of July summer. And hopefully I'm going to get some good lettuce starts to go in between the rows. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get new seeds from my Merlot lettuce that I've allowed to go to seed in time to plant it for the fall. Because that stuff was incredible and I'd love to have more, but we're working on its time frame because all the seeds are sold out right now. Alright, here you see the bed with everything planted and watered in, and my boards snugged down on top. Now I've pressed the boards in pretty well to make sure that there is good contact with the ground, because that is the whole point of putting in a moisture barrier. Hopefully this is going to make my life a lot easier, and we're going to enjoy a positive report of the results. Let's take a moment to appreciate. Check out this vine. This is my loofah gourd that's in the same bed. You can see, based on how much it's spread already, that if it were allowed to just grow horizontally, there wouldn't be room in this bed for very much else. In fact, it would spill over. So training your loofah gourd up a vertical support is probably a really good idea, and hopefully I have enough time left in the season that I'm going to get some loofahs off of this. Just in case you're curious, I know I was curious about what lettuce looks like when it's going to seed. So snugged in between this beautiful green zebra tomato and this Florentino tomato plant, both of which have grown quite tall. These are 8-foot stakes, and here's our progress up the stakes. It's pretty nice. So snugged in between these, I have a row of Merlot lettuce. I can't buy the seeds for these anymore because they're not for sale anywhere. But here you see the seed heads on top and the beautiful red leaves below. So these look like most of the flowers have been pollinated or are about to open at this point. I'm still probably a few weeks out from getting seeds to plant in the garden. But lettuce grows fast enough. I may be able to manage a fall crop from the seeds I harvest. Now in this case I am growing two cultivars of lettuce. I've got some devil's ear lettuce going to seed out in my front garden. I don't know how far you're supposed to separate them, so I've just moved mine as far apart as possible to avoid cross-pollination. I'm also a little bit concerned because these, as they grow, resemble a wild relative that I have growing out back along the canal. So if I pick up any wild traits, that'll be where they came from. So that's just a quick look at the lettuce that I mentioned earlier. Alright, and that is all that we're going to be doing today. I hope that you found some value in the video I showed you, and I hope you like and subscribe to my channel and my videos. If you have any questions, of course, as always, put them in the comments, and I hope your garden grows well.